fellow Bitcoiners, public interest groups, anybody else who's just involved in making money and want to know how. I'm King.
I'm Bitcoin Zay.
And we are from Kirby Digital Assets Group. You can find us at Kirby Crypto, KRBECRYPTO, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Kind of see some of our insights in the Bitcoin market. But today we're here to talk about something very important. August 1st is Bitcoin's D-Day. Even though it's not August 1st here in the US, overseas it already is. We're going off of UTC time, and according to UTC time, it is 12:45 right now. So, D-Day has started, and what does D-Day mean for Bitcoin?
Well, essentially, 25 minutes ago, the signaling started for Bitcoin Cash, which you may have heard of. A few people who were not happy with the block size of Bitcoin, which is the amount of transactions you can make at a certain time. They changed it into another coin, Bitcoin Cash, and now they're signaling so that miners can start actually mining this new currency. So could see a split in Bitcoin mining. It's pretty big for the price. May go up because a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines waiting for that volume. So very exciting, very exciting.
All right, so for people who are not involved in cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whatever, I'm gonna translate it because that's he always does all the technical stuff. He knows all the technical ins and outs. I just know how to say it in plainsman terms because that's the only way I understand it myself. What's basically happened, if you've been paying attention to Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency market, throughout the years, Bitcoin has risen in price to the historically highs this past year. When we bought in last year, we started a business where we trade Bitcoin. We bought in around 500, in the 500s to low 600s. Since then, Bitcoin has risen all the way up to today about $2,700, $2,800. I think that's all-time high. Did it crack 3 or no?
Cracked 3,000 a couple weeks ago.
It barely cracked 3,000, came back down. But we're talking about one cryptocurrency, a digital currency, if you will, that went from when we bought in the 500s, which is now all the way up to, like I said, $2,800. Now, what's happening right now, which is why today's Bitcoin D-Day, is because basically a part of the Bitcoin industry and space, a small part of the guys there, one main guy, Roger Ver, right?
Annoying guy. I don't know.
One main guy decided that whatever's going on with Bitcoin, he was saying the transactions are too slow. We can still speed them up, and he decided to make his own coin called Bitcoin Cash. The big thing about that is he's a big part of the Bitcoin community as far as, he's been an outspoken leader. He's one of the guys who jumped in early. He already did a prison sentence for it. And don't want to sound crazy with it, but just about everybody who's by 2013, 2014, the U.S. was not on board with cryptocurrency at all. So the folks who were in there making money during that time, they were going to jail. So he's one of these guys who were in the market early. He decided to split the chain. Now the issue with that is for all these people who are just now jumping in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, where it's worth $2,800, and they're saying one day it might go up to $25,000, $100,000. If he splits his chain successfully, then that money won't happen. It will happen in a different direction. So a lot of people either lose money, and for those who are betting against them, like us, it's a chance to make a lot more money. So
and 95% of miners. So don't really have anything to worry about.
Right.
Plus, if you've been around cryptocurrency a little bit, you've seen a lot of different coins that have Bitcoin in their name. Bitcoin's actually been hard forked, I think, 6 times now. So it's not something that's new. It's kind of just the most marketed way of doing it because of the people that's doing it. So I wouldn't worry too much about the price. I would just hold, which is usually the best strategy, and make sure if you have money that you want to use as long-term storage, do your due diligence. Make sure you research for yourself. So, yeah, big time coming up, but you want to make sure you do that.
Now, one thing I wanted to point out, which is why I put the, and the implications of the U.S. national security and how that involves Bitcoin. There's been a lot of things happening in the U.S. when it comes to arrests and laws and regulations involved in Bitcoin digital currency. The same thing they're telling all of you not to buy. They're telling all of you not to buy, even though every billionaire out there, every multimillionaire, the Rothschilds,
they don't want to see you shine.
Right? They don't want you to buy it for a reason. But a lot of people are taking the bait. So I'm just going to point out some very interesting things that's happening in the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin space. That if you were asleep at the wheel, which most of us were, even even we were until we really started piecing some stuff together, it didn't make sense. And this is in regards to international issues that are going on. And I remember, what was it, back in May, I said I was going to do an article about how Bitcoin relates to real life or some of the national security implications. I didn't do it because we weren't all the way sure, but this last week has shown us everything we need to know as far as what the U.S. game plan and what they're doing and how they're redirecting you and what you're looking at. So long story short, 2014.
Yeah.
2014. This is it was a exchange. Exchanges are like banks for digital currency. They're like banks for Bitcoin. So if you own any of this Bitcoin, you can go trade it on this exchange, make money. Anybody can. You can. I can. We put $50 on it. You can go make money. And if you were in there 6 months ago, that $50 might have turned to like literally $6,000. That's how high some of the profits and gains were. But as a recent, or back in 2014, this exchange, Mt. Gox, long story short, went out of business. All right, went in a sinker. Issue with that is there's thousands of people with millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in that exchange. So it's basically like if Bank of America, Wells Fargo, if Chase Bank, if any of those banks were just closed down right now and say, oh, and we lost your money.
Give me your money. Yeah.
That's how big the Mt. Gox things was. So they were the largest Bitcoin exchange at the time. They were based in
Hong Kong, sorry.
Yeah, Japan, Hong Kong, Japan, China. One of the Pacific theater countries. All right, but so anyway, so Mt. Gox went down in 2014, and over $500 million worth of Bitcoin went with it. So that means people's money disappeared in thin air, and everybody didn't know what happened to his money. This is 2014.
Signs outside the thing. Like,
right.
Where's my money? Yeah.
Now here's an interesting connection. What else happened in 2014? This happened early 2014, by the way. This happened in February or March. Another thing that happened in 2014 is we started dropping bombs on Syria. I remember I was on that deployment. I did a live feed about this before back in the day. Once again, it kind of came out of, the blue. One thing we have, some of the evidence has shown us since then is that, that attack on that, I won't say attack, the things going on in Syria, we know to be a proxy war between the United States and Russia. So why would we start a proxy war with Russia in 2014 in Syria? Of course, everybody started thinking gas, pipelines, oil, Assad is a bad dictator to some people, whatever. It was all these other things, right? Still to early established connection. Literally, now remember, August 1st, today is already August 1st in other parts of the world. So today was D-Day in regards to Bitcoin, in regards to how much people are going to make or how much people are going to lose. So this past 7 days, a lot of more interesting things happened. I'm sure you heard about the sanctions against Russia. The U.S. said they're going to do sanctions against Russia. Russia responded by cutting the diplomats, kick the diplomats out, kick half of those guys out, started seizing property. Once again, they're misdirecting. You're thinking about the sanctions and all the other stuff. No, what actually happened was about maybe 3 or 4 days now.
BTC.
Go ahead.
BTC, a very popular exchange with no KYC, anti-money laundering laws. Very big for people who dumped Bitcoin. If they stole it or whatnot, they actually arrested a Russian mobster, quote unquote, a businessman, so to say. I guess it was around $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. Just so happens right around the time we're involved with Russia again.
Right.
Could be implications.
So Bitcoin exchange, we just talked about the one exchange, Mt. Gox, in 2014 that shut down. Their 500 million plus of Bitcoin went missing, which was other people's money. Just recently, Bitcoin exchange was a huge exchange as well. Once again, these are like banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. They're not as regulated, not as organized, but as far as what they do, their utilization. So the guy who ran that platform was arrested a few days ago, about 3 or 4 days ago, and he was arrested because they said he laundered over $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, of course, everybody's looking for $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, the market's growing. Of course, it's becoming more expensive, but where did he get all that in the time frame he got it? Well, it just so happens around the same time that Mt. Gox money disappeared, there's some links, connections headed over to BTCE. BTCE, like he said, was the Russian mobster. He had ties to the Russian mafia. He was arrested, and who does the Russian mafia has a lot of ties within their own country? The Kremlin, the government. So what we're thinking, or I'll speak for myself personally, what I'm thinking is that when he got arrested for that $4 billion worth of Bitcoin that was once worth $500 million, which has grown in value, like I said, at the time that happened, how much is Bitcoin worth?
Maybe 800.
Maybe 800. Like so the numbers are starting to add up as far as the lost money that's out there. The U.S. arrested this guy, which is another story with that. But they arrested this guy, and of course, Russia has to respond. He works for the Russian mafia. I don't know who the Russian mafia works for, but if you're talking about $4 billion going into one country is not going unnoticed. Yeah. Digital currency or not. So of course the sanctions happened and that kicked out. So that's what I'm thinking. And of course we all know how the U.S. does. Unfortunately, the United States was the last to this Bitcoin cryptocurrency party, which means Japan, they've already legalized, right?
Yep, for payments right now.
How many stores is in by the end of this year?
By next year, 250,000. Right now it's at 180,
yeah.
I believe, 180,000. So they're using it. Bitcoin ATMs popping up every day, way less regulated.
Right. So
you can actually be a free individual and use it. Unlike here, they overregulate, try and take over, which can kind of backfire.
So it's legal in Japan, and I know Russia was talking about getting their own coin like earlier this year. So Russia's on it. China's been mining Bitcoins for the last few years, which is why that is really a national security risk, because not only are we in debt to these guys, but the one way to get out of debt, they had to hit start on and start mining. They run it. But even bigger, since the United States was the last to the party, what do? We're not going to go and start mining Bitcoin like China or trading. No, we're going to seize.
Take it.
Yeah, we're just going to take it. And that's what just happened. Whether it was right or wrong, they just took a large amount. Who's to know the real number for sure? Because I'm not behind that closed door.
You'll never know.
You will never know the real number. That's the way this environment works. And once they auction it off, they auction a part of it. And what usually happens for the auction is they say we have 30,000 Bitcoins, but who can buy 30,000 Bitcoins at $3,000 a piece? You have to buy them all at once.
Yeah, so not many people.
So the rich get richer. Some of their buddies come in and buy that up. But the bottom line is the national security implication, what you're seeing going on now, has direct traces back to Bitcoin from the Mt. Gox hack back in 2014 when we first went into Syria to fight that proxy war with Russia. Fast forward, we arrest this guy conveniently a week before August 1st. Also, this last week, what happened? The SEC came out and issued laws and regulations and guidelines about Bitcoin. Kind of convenient to do it once again right before August 1st.
When it's probably going to do pretty big numbers. So, that's how they do it. I mean, I've been in this game a long time.
He's been trading for years.
Yeah, so it's every time something big is about to happen, something kind of gets in the way. But like I said, Bitcoin it is dead by now. It's like honey badger. Honey badger don't quit. honey badger keep going.
And the even bigger thing is this one we knew we were onto something, misdirection. All of a sudden the transgender thing comes out. Transgenders aren't allowed in the military. All of a sudden North Korea is about to launch a missile. We're going to go to war with Russia. Why are all these things happening leading up to August 1st?
Shaq dissing LeVar Ball. What is it? All this extra stuff. All this extra stuff, man.
Everything's leading up to August 1st. And as people always say, if you really follow the money, this is where the money's at, and this is why all these things are happening. So everything you've been seeing in the news, that is misdirection. Because the one thing they're not going to have on CNN or Fox is talking about how the U.S. just seized $4 billion worth of Bitcoin that possibly by the end of this year could be worth $8 billion.
Yeah, if not more.
In 1 year, if not more, right? You talk about 2 or 3 years from now, how much is that worth? Like I said, it's enough money in this market to literally change everything, change the way countries do business, banks do business, top to bottom. And the U.S. came last to the party.
And I wouldn't be surprised if a country like Venezuela, who has very high inflation, they have almost no way to get out of debt. And if they need a loan or whatever, like we just put sanctions on them, did we not?
We just put sanctions on Venezuela.
If they actually want to do business, we may be gearing up to use another way, which we already know, Bitcoin. Yeah. You can actually fund it with Bitcoin, and they can actually have, because I actually believe at least one country is going to use Bitcoin as a national currency, just because of that. Their inflation rate is so high.
Aurora Coin is working on it. Was it New Zealand or something?
Yeah,
one of those countries.
Yeah,
no, it's not New Zealand.
But they may start their own national currency through digital. But if you have Bitcoin to sell already, maybe a high value for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Venezuela also. Some of these other countries, I know when the Greek crisis happened, Bitcoin jumped 15%.
Iceland.
Brexit happened, Bitcoin jumped.
Bitcoin jumped huge at
Anytime a major economy is looking at any type of failure or falling off, and USA hasn't been there yet, but anytime it's close, Bitcoin jumps because people move their storage of value. So, one domino falls in a place like in the US, who knows? But in Venezuela, all them dominoes have failed. They broke as shit, but they can actually get out of it with Bitcoin because you mine it, use it.
So. In addition to that, I mean, it's just one of those things. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to a normal person? Okay, why do I care about Bitcoin? you should care about Bitcoin because right now is the time where you're still allowed to buy it legally. You're allowed to get into this market, and with something as small as like $20, $25, you can just log in your computer and you can just buy a piece of it and let it sit for the next 3 years for $25, whatever. Or like us, you can go all in on it, and I'm telling you, if you do it the right way, the returns are huge on that as well. But we're in an interesting time right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
Well, the actual SegWit lock-in is August 7th, so look out for that. So when that actually locks in, official SegWit is running on Bitcoin and make it more efficient. It's like getting better fuel in your car, make it more efficient, go faster and cheaper. Then boom.
What is 1 Bitcoin worth as of now? All right, hold on, let's see.
28.37 last time I looked. Let's see what it is now.
Yep, 28.42.
28.42 right now.
And look, in the top article today was talking about how Bitcoin took a 7% slide in wake of August 1st. Crazy thing the note is that if you see anything about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in the mainstream media, ignore it. They're late. They're always late to the party. I guarantee you they'll be talking about this tomorrow, if not next week. They'll just be too late to the party. You're either in or you're out.
Bitcoin sites have been talking about for the last month.
Right.
So, always late. But,
yeah.
And what does it say? What is the best sub-index performance-wise to date? As far as sub-index, you mean like altcoins?
Like altcoins?
Because those are offshoots or a variation of the code. It's not like trading stocks. I do want to put that out there. This is a little different because it's like nothing before. So, like stocks, you have options or you have shares in that company or whatnot. But this is actual currency that you can use to spend. So there is that factor that there is a market of people using it outside of the trading part of it. So those altcoins, some of those like Ethereum.
That's probably the biggest one. Like Ethereum's probably had the biggest jump, right?
Nah, not the biggest jump, but it is the biggest
all
platform,
time.
Second biggest market cap to Bitcoin. Yeah. But Stratus, Litecoin, big. Litecoin already has SegWit, so that's a big one. Monero. Let's see if I need to slow it down. So
I would say so. There's a bunch of different ones.
A lot of good ones.
But like I said, the main thing, like I said, just watch the news. Every time you see something, a story that seems too crazy as of right now, they're just redirecting you. Believe me when I say the U.S. have made so many arrests this last month in regards to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Like I said, this last week, they were just arrested a guy that ran the biggest exchange who had ties to the Russian mafia, who may or may not have ties to the government. And, now we're putting sanctions on all this is happening. It's happening for a reason. You were talking about, like, literally, and it's one of the things I put in my post Friday. We saw it already the first 2 quarters of this year, but you're about to see more millionaires and multi-billionaires in the next month to 2 months come out the blue. Trust me on that. And there's guys, the one guy came on that did a speech, was like 18 years old. Yeah, 18-year-old, just became a millionaire or whatever.
Yeah, from 2,000 or something like that.
Right.
Or 200, something like that.
Yeah, from $200?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Turned $200 into $1 million in a matter of a few years. Mm-hmm. So, you got to start paying attention to this. Explain again. He kind of explained to me the reason why digital currency is the way of the future as far as the way things progress.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is when you go into anything like this, you have to go into it knowing that in the future things are going to change. So if you go into it knowing in the future is going to change, the next question is to what? We're not going to be using credit cards and most likely cash as much as we use it now. 2 reasons. For one, we won't be using credit cards and cash as much because the influence of the bank over what you do will diminish because most people start getting into cryptocurrencies over time. And that's why when it first came out, I realized there's a group of people who are willing to use cryptocurrency over the bank. So that's the first reason. There's always going to be people such as myself who would rather. I was just about to say, it's not even an investment; it's more of a lifestyle. Like I would rather use it.
So let me just jump in on that. So you can fully understand what that means for those who are watching. It's like if you have the option to have the bank hold your money, or have your money stored on a secure, digital, open, transparent ledger online, which one would you choose? Would you allow the bank to have it, or would you allow your own? You're self-sufficient. You can control it yourself. That means you control all of your money. Keys. Oh yeah. It's safer than hiding under your mattress, but you still own all of it.
Yep. And that's the first facet. And then the second reason why it's the future is there's a bunch of speculation on what's coming next. Because no matter what, technology always pushes us forward. So outside of the hardcore, people want to use it. Speculation on people who, somebody's going to use it in the future. People that don't have banks, they're going to need it. People who want to store value, like gold, like digital gold, they'll use it. People want to send money back and forth.
Oh, I got a bigger one.
Without fees.
I got a huge
one.
one. So for my military family, we're on deployment. We're in some country or on some ship, and we can't get our money. We can't, Western Union or this, that, and the other. How do we get money? We all know that takes forever. If you have to send money back home as a family emergency, God forbid, or vice versa, how would you get money to each other? Like, let's say you send your wife, your family, your friends, your husband, your kids. You need to send them $30K off something. You need to send them $5K. You need to send them $300. What's the fastest way to do that? It is literally.
Let's run through them. Let's run through all the
Yeah, let's run through it.
Can't send cash back.
You cannot send cash.
Can't send gold for all those gold people.
For all the people who've been to Dubai 3 or 4 times in one deployment, silver, you can't do gold and silver.
You can't send a check. If you send a wire, it's going to take a couple days.
And that's if the country does do it to your bank.
$10 to $40, $60, I've seen some.
Right.
Send through MoneyGram, Western Union, same thing. High fees.
If the country has it.
If they have it. If you have Wi-Fi, you can send it with Bitcoin.
That's it.
That's it. If you have a network connection.
You can hop on your cell phone. For those who've been deployed on the ship, that means we can literally get on our ship computer and send money back home or back wherever we want, and with no limit to the amount of money and no intermediate person or company or organization stopping you from doing it. So that's the value in it. So, and a lot of people still, on the national scale, like I said, the U.S. is the last to the party. So a lot of information you're even seeing here, everybody in the world already knows about, I guarantee you. People have already started sending, whether it's for, let's talk about Syria again, whether it's for Assad or the rebels, people are sending money via Bitcoin to them. Do you got the coin, what's called here?
Open down?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, it's to the point now.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a small USB open dime that you can get. Look on the website. It's actually the closest thing to actual Bitcoin Cash.
And he's going to do what's called soon on it.
And I'll do a video on that soon. But yeah, you can put the money on there. Neither party knows the private key, so it can't be stolen. I can put $1 million on there and hand it directly to someone else, and they'll have $1 million worth of Bitcoin. So, and it's secure, it's small. I mean, nobody would even know to take it. I mean,
and that's about to be a thing of the past. That's how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
So there's this, and he's been, like I said, he's a technical advisor and everything. There's basically like a thumb drive, size of a pen top, that you can put as much money as you want on it, and just unplug it, and no one can access it but you or who you allow to access to with the money.
Password.
Everything's encrypted. What does that mean? Once again, this is why I keep bringing it back to why this is about to be a national security issue. We don't jump on it early. That means somebody, let's say a cartel or a gang, can put millions of dollars on a little thumb drive and just drive across the border, drive wherever they want, and plug it into a computer and have the money right there.
Yep. And not just Bitcoin, Monero, some of these other ones. So
there's hundreds of them now.
This is way bigger than what you think. And even if you say, oh, well, it's people using it for illegal activity. People use cash for 93% of all illegal activity, and nobody stopped using cash. So that question was how secure are digital wallets? Depends on the wallet. Security-wise, 3 options. You got phone wallet, computer wallet, and if you have an iPad wallet, or that way, and also cold storage. Sorry, phone wallet you want to use. If you have Apple, you want to use Mycelium, which is very secure. It's Mycelium. That's very secure because you are able to write down a 12-word seed to get back into your wallet. You can secure it with a PIN code. You can secure it with 2-factor. You can actually use your thumbprint for the login. Most of them do it as well. Jax Wallet, JAXX. You can write it, like I said, the seed down on a piece of paper, store it in a safe, store it somewhere safe, in a dresser or something, or keep it in cloud storage somewhere else. There's plenty of options, but you want to make sure, digital wallet-wise, that they are as secure as you make it. So that's one thing I want to put out. There's very secure wallets, like Armory online, ARMORY, and there's less secure wallets like BitWallet, which is on iPhone. It's not really a big thing to open it. It's no big 2-factor. So, and
we have all those. If you go to our YouTube at Kirby Crypto, KRBECRYPTO, we have some of the information on wallets and some of the coins there too. But so I don't know. You got anything else?
Just excited for this to get started.
Yeah.
The 1st through the 8th be very, very interesting.
Right.
So.
So like, just a quick wrap up for those just joining us. Thanks for watching. Like I said, basically we just talked about, you can go back to the beginning, but just sum it up. August 1st, which is kind of already started today because it goes off international UTC time. The people that's involved in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, they decided to attempt to split it up into two. If that's, depending on what happens at that split, whether it's successful, unsuccessful, or what, that's like the last one of the last biggest hurdles for the Bitcoin space, Bitcoin cryptocurrency industry. Which means if this goes off without a hitch, nothing happens to the Bitcoin, the blockchain, the price is about to skyrocket. It's about to go. Remember where you saw it first. Price is about to start skyrocketing. If nothing happens, worst case scenario, it'll dip a little bit and then it'll correct kind of pretty quickly.
You can buy more.
And you can buy more. But we think it's going to skyrocket. You know, we're holding down right now. Also, when it comes to U.S. implication, like I told people, I sincerely believe that if you follow the money, everything that's happened in the last 3 years in the United States can be linked back to this. Like I said, back in 2014 when Mt. Gox was hacked for over $500 million worth of Bitcoin, to last week when all of a sudden they arrested the Russian mobster who had $4 billion worth of Bitcoin laundered that came probably from Mt. Gox, to having those Russian ties to possibly the Kremlin, and then the U.S. slapping on sanctions to not only Russia but Venezuela, who once again their money's been inflated. Yeah, their money's hyperinflated, so they need Bitcoin as well. And then, like I said, going back to Russia responding it. On the forefront, what does it look like? It looks like transgenderism, firing the press secretary, nukes in North Korea, all this other mooch. Yeah, mooch. That's what I was thinking of. Those are the stories they want you to follow. But if you just follow the money, then you will realize everything that's happening. Oh, and the biggest thing I forgot, this was really good. When SEC started handing out regulations and laws, literally 3 days before this happened. 3 days before people are about to become millionaires, billionaires, and for governments, multi-trillionaires, they just slapped on SEC regulations. Which, to be honest, while they arrested someone in a foreign country, they arrested the Russian in Greece, I believe. They didn't arrest them in Russia. That's because we're partner nations with Greece. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when it's one of those countries who aren't partners with the U.S., who really don't care what we think in regards to how we feel our SEC should be able to regulate things internationally or nationally. And we'll see how they respond, because I can guarantee you that guy who had the $4 billion laundered was in Russia. We wouldn't have got that arrest, and I guarantee we would have pressed the issue a little bit more. So we'll see what happens, but it's about to be a very interesting week. Keep your eye on the money this week. Don't pay attention to noise in the news. If it doesn't involve money, do not pay attention to it. And I'll give the news cycle. I'll give the mainstream news about anywhere between 3 to 7 days before they do this story, and we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for watching. Again, you can follow us at Kirby Crypto on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, kind of Instagram, but not really. And you can see some more videos we've done on the space, and as far as other little tips and tricks we're giving out to help you make more money. Thanks for watching.